Well, howdy there, partners. You done stumbled across the rootinest, tootinest question answering roundup this side of the digital divide. Your old pals here have been panning for nuggets of Reddit gold since nigh on 3 years, let me tell you. I've heard questions so unusual they'd make a jackrabbit tap dance in a dust storm. Join us, trail guides, as we rustle up the wildest, weirdest, and most downright ridiculous questions from the frontiers of Reddit. We might not be right, but by gum, we sure sound like we are. So hitch up your suspenders, pour yourself a mug of old black coffee or snake oil, I don't judge, and let's dig for truth in a land where the soil's rich with nonsense. My name's Old Dirty Dingus Bernhardt.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Jake.
And this is Qualified Nonsense.
Oh, by golly.
That was delightful. I like the face that you made while you were doing that.
What?
I don't know. It just like when
what was I
doing
doing?
a character, it just like you had like you made your mouth smaller, but somehow it was more expressive, like it moved more.
Looked like a
great.
South Park mouth.
It did look a bit like a South Park mouth.
Well, it talks like yeah.
Looks
Did
like
you guys
yip in
watch
the bottom.
the Coen brothers made that series of Western shorts a number of years ago?
The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that? That,
Yeah.
that was great.
did.
I really
It was
enjoyed
good.
all those. But that I felt like that would have fit nicely in that in that montage of stories.
It reminded me a little bit of Will Ferrell when he was on SNL, the old Prospector. No,
Oh, the Gus Chiggins.
Gus Chiggins, the old Prospector. Peaches.
Yeah.
Well, how do you follow that up?
Did you write that?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Love to hear it. Yeah, what's been other than prospecting, what's been going on?
I've been digging for gold just in other places.
No, that's not gold. I had an exciting weekend. My poor sweet mother-in-law fell and broke her hip, and
Oh no.
it was initially a scary prognosis, but turned out to be much, much better. And so an action-packed weekend of hospital visits and outfitting their house to be accessible or more accessible. But she's expected to be 90% recovered in the next 10 or 12 days. So
Oh, great.
really, really fortunate.
A speedy recovery.
Thank you.
I'll send
Maybe
her
you
a
can
plate of
confirm
Changs.
this.
If she needs a meal train, we'll get Changs out there.
Yeah, all right.
Maybe you could confirm this. Something I've heard is that when older people break their hip, what actually happens is it's not the fall that causes the break,
Mhm.
it's that their hip breaks and then they fall. Is that true?
Yes. Or rather, I've heard that a lot. And I forget, I should have probably studied this before I brought it up, but there is a condition of, chronic bone weakening. It's called something, but it affects the hips.
Osteoporosis?
That's the one.
Called not
And
drinking your milk.
So, a lot of times people with osteoporosis will have a diminished bone, weight capacity, and it breaks before they fall, and the break is the thing that actually makes them fall. In this case, my mother-in-law fell because she was doing something that she probably shouldn't have been doing, mowing in a uneven lawn, and she just tripped over something.
That could
she
have been
landed.
worse.
Yeah.
if
Doggone
she
it,
was
yeah.
mowing.
That's like Final Destination material.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. But she, but yeah, I mean, she's relatively young. And
Did she have surgery
fit,
at all or anything?
And so, yeah, she did. She got a plate and some screws put in.
Nice.
And
Her and my
and she
dad could
was-
be buddies.
Shoot. Did your dad break his hip?
So when we were in the car accident,
Oh, that's right.
his hip shattered. So
Yeesh.
yeah, he had to learn how to rewalk.
Yeah, that's jacked.
Not an
Yeah,
issue of falling, breaking before the fall, but still,
right.
still a rough one. Well,
Yeah, well, and also like it was scary. I mean, I guess I didn't have to bring this up in the podcast, but the just the I think the aggregate group of people that do break their hips, because it's all older people and the range is pretty broad as far as like people in their 60s and 70s versus their 90s and 80s and 90s. But apparently like 1/3 of people that break their hips are it's like it's like a terminal prognosis of like people that are either old and then that prevents them from being able to move around, and then they just sort of give up. And so anyway, that was the information that we were first met with by the surgeon. We're like 1/3. We're like, God damn.
Jake's like, wait, I do this all the time on the podcast. I know what he's trying to say, guys.
Yeah. I think I'll ask Reddit first. Thanks, Doc.
Sounds like doom and gloom, but it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Reddit said she's gonna be fine. So
Yeah. No, but I'm happy to report that she's back home, and she's walking around, and that was a weekend event. So
those kind of surgeries these days, like I have a dear friend who has helped with a lot on the house. He's a retired electrician.
and he's a deer.
A dear friend. God damn it.
How does he help out with his hooves?
How does he? I have actually a lot of questions here.
Gonna keep going. Either way, just had a knee replacement, and they get you up. Like he had his knee replaced at 7 a.m. and he was home by 1 p.m.
Isn't that
I was like,
wild?
I've seen those surgeries on YouTube, and they are not pleasant.
No.
But the mentality is all changed. Of it used to be, hey, you have a hip replacement or a knee replacement, sit in bed, don't move, let the muscles heal around it. And now it's complete. It's like, get your ass up. We need this bed.
It's like, we need that bed.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
And he was like, yeah, they have you up and walking around, and it kind of sucks, but the healing, like he's taken his dog on walks again. And
I mean, I do think though they've figured out that there's also benefit to getting up immediately. Like I'm sure there is a financial incentive to get people out to turn over rooms. But they were having my mother-in-law up and walking around with just a day after, or not even a day, and PT was all over it, trying to get her to lift her leg and move around and walk and do stairs like the same day as the surgery. It's like,
that probably also benefits your mental health more than just sitting in a hospital room for days on end.
That's a really
staring at
solid
scars.
point.
Yeah. I mean, there's also, you could push it too far. I know. So my uncle, shout out Tony on the mic. He had both of his knees replaced at the same time, which they tried to get him to not do that. He was at the age where they could. And I know that recovery was relatively challenging just because you don't have a good side to stand on.
Right.
But I mean,
I get why you'd want to get it done, because you don't want to be you don't want to be laid up for twice.
Like, do you have to
time,
use a walker or something at that point with a double knee replacement? Yeah.
And he was in PT like immediately.
Yeah.
I understand it. Like I don't want to. I had my wisdom teeth taken out in 2 separate sessions. I was like, that sucks. I have to go through this again. Like, just do it at once.
Yeah, just get them all out.
Well, healing vibes to your mother-in-law.
Thank you. Very kind.
Also, if you're listening to this right now, it's probably time for another walk. Get up and move around.
Yeah.
Take us with you on the go. Plug in those headphones and let's get the boot, scoot, and boogie.
Did you know that hearing aids now are Bluetooth enabled? or like you can get them Bluetooth enabled, so you can listen
Are
to
you
them.
saying we can hack into?
Yeah, you can
people's...
use AirPods technically as hearing aids.
You can use these
Oh,
because if I
interesting.
hit this side once, it turns on the amplification of everything else.
Yeah.
But you're
Interesting.
saying we could hack into old people's
Get
like
our numbers up.
sources of hearing. Yeah.
Yeah, make their dementia worse.
Jesus.
No, there's a plan here. There has to be a plan. How to get Remember when U2 released that iPod or the
Yeah.
iPhone and it had the album loaded on it that everybody hated?
Did you know that's still a thing?
How do we get a contract with hearing aids to have qualified nonsense as a default?
What a
Like the
what
minute
a
you turn it on.
hateful thing to do to old people. They don't need that. They don't have all that much time left. Like
Every
let
episode
them
we
go
can
off
we can
and
change over and be
feast.
like, "Hey Mima, hey Beepa, it's time for another episode with your favorite guys."
It's like a radio show, but on the internet.
Don't forget
Meanwhile,
to put us
I'm
in
over
your
here
will.
like, fuck this and
Our
fuck
full
that.
legal
They're
names
like,
are.
oh my goodness.
Anyway,
What a
would you guys
gaping
ever get a
asshole?
did you guys ever get a Prince Albert?
Y'all do butt stuff? Cool. Well, should we do
On that
it?
note,
Should we take a Perry Mason break and come back to some questions?
be right back. And welcome back. Feel free to drop us a line at qualifiednonsense@gmail.com or connect with us on our socials. Now's the time on the show where we take on Reddit's most pressing questions by finding the top trending questions and answering them. Our first question comes to us from... Sorry, I should have this up. Oh,
That's okay.
comes to us from...
Vamp. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba.
Oh, Christ. I did the wrong one. Okay.
Sorry, Mima.
Sorry,
no,
Mima.
How do I work this computer?
Christ on crutches. Brandon's just
All right.
offending all the old people.
The blessing.
All right. This comes from Ask Men Over 30.
That's us.
Username
us.
Expensive Cold 6041. They say,
Is that oil?
"Hey dudes, any other guys feel embarrassed about their lack of sports knowledge? Yo dudes, lately I've been feeling embarrassed about my lack of sports knowledge. NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, the classics. So many other guys know all the players and sports. I like watching the games, but I feel like a chump when someone who knows everything can spout all the players in history. I'd like to get more knowledgeable to have better conversations with other guys. Basically, 1, any other guys feel this way? 2, any strategies or tips to work on getting more sports knowledge?"
I
You
don't know
wrote
about
this
that.
question, Brandon, didn't you?
I don't know about that sports ball.
Yes, I'm Expensive
stuff.
Cold 6041.
Well, let me hit you. Like, here's something
my
I learned
burner
about
account.
myself is, especially when it comes to like sports betting, because typically the people that know everybody and have like all the feelings, they're typically into sports betting. Something that you're going to have going for you is you have no emotional connection, no attachment. You could probably just look at the numbers and make some good winning bets. Use that as your binder.
Just
You
Moneyball
should
it?
start gambling to get
Yes.
into sports.
Yes.
There's a
I mean,
paywall to get
so
into sports.
if you're
It's
sitting
called
there and you can't be like,
FanDuel.
oh yeah, I hope Hakeem Olajuwon makes 20 this game, is like, just for the sake of argument, like you could be like, hey, I actually put 20 down on the spread for whatever. I think that's a nice binder because if you don't know the name, you can at least compare.
I
bets.
would say a less risky way
Nah.
would be to just find a sport that you even marginally you enjoy watching or that you understand to some degree, and then find your local team, whoever that is, and then just follow them
for a season just for that one sport, and then you have that one thing to talk about. And then if somebody's like, "Oh, well, this other team is blah blah," it's like, well, I really only follow these guys, and but you could still.
I couldn't agree more. In fact, I'm doing this right now. This evening, my family watched the first half of the most recent Carolina Courage game. It's a soccer. It's the North Carolina local soccer team in the NWSL, and it's really fun because the boys they like soccer. They've gotten into it, and what we've done is we've watched, I don't know, four-ish games, but now we know everybody on the pitch. And granted, we're already interested in soccer, but we know everybody on the pitch, so we know,
especially when you use terms like that.
Who
learn that tonight? It's called the pitch.
Yeah, well, right, exactly. So you naturally like get some of the lingo from the commentators talking, right? And then also you start learning who the players are. And I think soccer is actually really great for this because, and probably hockey too, because you've got a distinct group of people on the ice or pitch at a given time, and they talk about those individuals a lot. Whereas football, you've got the defense and the offense, and they switch out. Is that right? I don't even know the answer to that. But my point is that if you do what Brandon had suggested, I think you'll quickly get the hang of.
You do run the risk though of like ostracizing yourself by only learning the local team, because then if you like Brandon, you're like, well, that's all I follow. Okay, well, conversation's over. Like, I can't talk about that with you, and because you don't know.
Well, I mean, I think it's also okay to just say, yeah, sorry, I don't really follow sports. Like, it's not my thing, but hey,
or just
have
always
you
say,
watched
like, I'm here for
the most
wings.
recent episode of whatever, or like, have you seen this movie? Or, you know, you could.
Yeah, but if you are trying to get into sports, or if you want to become more knowledgeable in a particular sport, I think doing what you had suggested was good, because sure, you might only learn about those players, but you become more knowledgeable in the lingo and also like the type.
Yeah, you can talk about the game more.
You can talk about like you'll just have more like a holistic knowledge of the game, which I think is good for conversation.
Also, don't show up to your group and say, yo, dudes. You talk about, like, because it makes you look, yeah, don't do that. How's the sports match tonight, homies? Quick way to not get invited back, my guy.
What's with these homies dissing my girl?
What are some of the top answers?
Top answer, it says, it goes like, full circle, man. I'm a big football guy, and sometimes will tell me they. It goes full circle. I'm a big football guy, and someone will tell me they also like football, and I get excited and go full Rain Man while their eyes glaze over. Yeah, I do think I've run into situations like that before where like I'll like just like casually wear sports team hats, and it's not even that I follow like I have a New Orleans Saints hat and I was wearing it around, and then some guy had a Cowboys hat on and he was like, "Oh, Saints, I'm a Cowboys fan," and I was like, I don't know what that means. Like yeah. I'm more about it. I like the city of New Orleans and more so than the Saints, but
right,
whatever. Yeah. So you do run that risk, I guess, if you're wearing sports paraphernalia out. This other person says, pick a team, pick a great year, do all your research on that one year, like all stats, and only talk about how it was peak, make them feel bad that they don't know about the year of that team. Casually follow chosen team, like super casual. Did they win championship? Yes, we are awesome. No, talk about that peak year.
The Blazers in '72. They're so great.
I don't recall the year, but Anna had a boyfriend in New York that was into football, and so while they were dating, she was like, okay, I can be into football. And so the year that she sort of like got into watching a lot of games and sort of like chilling is when they won the Super Bowl. And so she's like, great, Giants. I love football. And then after that, she was like, all right, I don't need to watch football anymore. So she just like slid in like right for them to get the
I don't know.
to get the
Last year,
trophies.
I watched like all the Ducks games on TV, the football games.
Yeah, you've leaned into
And-
that pretty hard since moving to Eugene.
Yeah, and it's fun. Like, you know, there's a lot of people around town who are really into it, and it's
It's great to identify with the locales. I used to never wear
Yeah.
blue or orange, but now I do because of where I live.
I mean, I
you,
don't.
Do you have any Beavers stuff?
Ducks.
Me?
Oh wait, are you where are you? Clearly I need to also join the local team.
The Beavers are Corvallis. The Ducks are Eugene.
That's what I mean. Do you have any Beavers paraphernalia, and do you get heckled or anything?
Not in this
no.
house.
Right, exactly.
No,
That's all.
but I have
Oh,
noticed
I had
people
it
walking.
right. Just for point of order, just for the record, my question was accurately posed.
Okay.
It's just
Defensive much?
fuck you.
No, I have noticed people like you'll go to, you know, like the Saturday market or whatever and see somebody like decked out all in Beaver stuff, and it almost seems like they're like trying to be
Yeah, they're trying
aggro about it.
Yeah.
That would be me. I would
Um,
totally do that.
Even though it's like they're not even in the same conference anymore, so
Are they not?
get over it. No.
No, there's a huge like disband. Did they ever land anywhere?
Wait, so they don't
The
play each
Beavers
other?
are
That
still
used to
part
be
of the Pac-10 or Pac-12, whatever. It's
I mean, the Pac-2.
yeah,
It's just the two of. It's just Washington. and-
yeah.
I thought they ended up in the Mountain Series or something like that.
Oh, I don't know.
Is it because of the school
The
size change
the
or
Pac-12 kind of disbanded, and then Oregon State and the Huskies. Was the Huskies or the Cougars? One of them, one of the Washington teams. So the Pac-12 went to the Pac-2 because they're like, no,
I think it's the Huskies.
we're gonna make this a thing. And so it was like, all right, well, there's two people playing each other in their conference. You get one game, you get one playoff, and you get one championship game. You know, it's like, who else are you gonna play?
That's
So
so
I
weird.
I can't remember where they went, but I thought the Beavers at least selected somewhere to go. But
this
the Ducks
says-
went up to the big dogs, like where the Ohio Buckeyes are. Like-
I see.
Oh, there's still the Pac-12. It looks like a few other states have joined the Pac-12.
Oh, the smaller ones.
It says Boise State, Fresno State, Colorado State, Utah State, and San Diego State joined the Pac-12. So
That would be hard though, because like you have to either let a school in that's really good to a bad league and be like they're going to murder us all, or open up your own league to a bunch of really bad and smaller teams and be like, hey, you can come to our league, but we're going to stomp you.
well, like the thing I don't get about like now we're just talking about like football, sports stuff, but
This is a sports podcast now. Finally,
Hey, dudes.
Finally, we've come into our final form.
Yo, guys.
I mean, I get the like financial advantage that University of Oregon gets by joining the Big Ten conference, but logistically, for like teams that aren't as financially lucrative as football, it doesn't make sense for, you know, the men's volleyball team to be playing Ohio State and like traveling that far to
Yeah.
you know.
It's a lot to unpack, a lot to consider.
Yeah. Anyway,
There you go. Old bro 60.
Turns out you can listen to Qualified Nonsense, and you can get up to date on all the sporting stuff you need for your
well, that's
conversations.
another thing. Like, even if you're not that interested in the sport, maybe there is like some aspect that you are interested in, like, you know, like kind of the history of it, of a team, or
Look at how he fills that water.
like like all the kind of stuff surrounding it, like you know, divisional moves and things like that. I don't know. Or maybe you just like the look, like a certain mascot catches your eye a certain way,
Yeah.
and that just
I'm
becomes
just
your
here
team.
for the colors.
and then you start going to the mascot conferences.
Yeah.
Or like,
maybe
I'm going to make it my personal mission to have every hot dog in the baseball parks or something. Hey guys, want to go to
Or there's a lot of great parallels between the United States slave trade and the college.
Jesus. All right, Jake.
Okay, yeah, too far. Debbie Downer over here. I don't like that. That's my catchphrase sound. I'll have to change my ways. All right, I guess we better
all right,
go to
next question. Just go talk to people. It's not hard. Go talk to somebody.
Yeah, or well, I guess. Well, here's a question: if somebody goes, if somebody's like, "Oh, hey, did you catch the game last night?" Like, do you think they'd be put off if you're like, "No, what game? Oh, tell me about it," and then like you try to learn from somebody if you like ask them like probing questions about
because generally those people are like, hey, did you catch it? Yes. Oh, did you see that one thing? Cool. But by you saying like, oh, what game? Who was that about? It's like, okay, well,
how many
first of all,
points
it was
is
a rivalry that
goal,
goes
or
back
how
to
many
the
like
60s. Yeah, it's like I didn't want to walk into this thing and explain to you the sport. Just seeing if you saw Kobe's 3, you know.
Kobe.
Careful.
R.I.P.
It's just, what does he die?
I think.
Okay.
I think you mean
this is going back to one of our other episodes of Pick Me Boys. Oh, what is it? Not familiar with it. One of those sports? I don't know.
Oh, I should search this. Search the comments for Sportsball. See what.
Surely somebody has to have a witty comeback. I only watch ESPN The Ocho.
Let me see.
In this ready, oh my god, never mind. I can't even speak.
Well,
In this riveting audio medium, Brandon will be searching on the internet for
we see you shivering with anticipation.
I couldn't care less about sports ball. I understand watching the game occasionally for entertainment, but being the type of super fan who devotes their entire Sundays every week to something they're just spectators of seems cringe to me.
This is coming from a person who probably like still reads comics in the newspaper. There's some
Wait,
old.
What's wrong with reading comics?
Probably does crosswords on paper.
Nope, I find people's obsession with sports ball a bit weird. Sports ball is boring to me. Give me some MMA/boxing. I don't sports ball, sorry. No, sports ball is a worthless distraction to keep your mind off of how bad the government is fucking you. Bread and circus, look it up. I'm much happier knowing that I'm well versed in real estate, investing, travel, literature, and current events. I can also talk politics, current events, philosophy, and music. I can also talk sports at a pretty basic level, but when the talk gets going heavily in that direction, I dip. You're not going to grow as a person obsessing about some gazillionaire's latest contract or stats.
I would. What's that user's name?
Yeah,
this guy is Mustache Supernova.
Hey, well, we must ask you to go back and listen to our last episode about people that are full of shit, because that's how you just sounded right now.
Yeah,
Mustachio.
But also anyone who lists real estate as the first thing that they're good at outside of sports ball, and thinking that it's about government, whatever that nonsense you were saying about the government, which is probably not that nonsensical, but listing real estate, that's like the biggest red flag you could
that's what, the
produce.
first three things he listed were all things that you can gain information from at a hotel conference. But guess what? Seating's limited. Sign up now. He got in. Hopefully you did.
Sorry, I know, Jake, you said you used sports ball before. I just was curious.
That's okay. No, if I don't care. You can target me.
Just doing some gentle ribbing. Jake, you're like, I don't care. I know a lot more than you in real estate and investing.
Yeah, that is my user handle. Yeah, what an idiot.
What is bread and circus, though? Now I'm curious.
I think it's just like like media distraction on what, like them releasing a like a big
Often
publication
attributed to
about
the
something
Roman
neat.
poet Juvenal. What did you think it was?
Just like distracting feel good stuff, like strategically producing distracting feel good stuff while committing atrocities, or not
Yeah,
atrocities,
pretty
but like
much.
doing like bullshit,
Yeah,
like pardoning
pacifying a
turkey.
populace by providing them with basic necessities, bread, and entertainment, circuses, to prevent them from taking action on more significant issues.
Yeah, pardoning a
Oh,
turkey while bombing a hospital, that sort of shit.
right. Well, that guy sounds fun at a
Right.
party.
Next question.
Moving on. This one also from Ask Men Over 30.
That's also us.
That's us.
Username Hunter Gatherer 1.
Ooh,
Mm.
who's a big tough
They ask,
man.
they ask, what was your "I'm the grown-up now" moment? For me, it was a day when I took my 3-year-old nephew to the beach that I used to go to as a kid, and having this surreal moment where I saw myself through his eyes. I remembered being a child, and always having an adult with me, especially when I was that age. My uncle was around a lot. I loved playing with him at the beach. I had this moment of realizing my nephew would be forming the exact same kinds of memories I did, except now I was the adult there. I'm the grown-up now in someone else's story. So what was your "I'm the grown-up now" moment?
Having a beer in the town you grew up in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, that's a good one. I mean, frankly, having kids
Yeah.
does something weird. I mean, it's not something weird. It's like you suddenly become the adult, which is being responsible for a human life is just a very strange thing, and that they just fucking let anybody do it. Like, it's wild.
I mean,
It's
for the
wild.
most part, CPS has a little bit of a say. It's I mean, having kids was definitely one of those moments of, right, here you
I mean,
go.
especially-
Getting married is all right.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I don't know. Getting married, if you don't already, if you don't already have kids, like, getting married still sort of, to me anyway, feels kind of like a party, kind of like you're young and like you have the ability to be relatively carefree. And for you know, especially like Matt, you and I, we went through some traumatic birthing experiences
Mhm.
with our kids, and so being just like I don't know, that was really shocking, not only being the adult but being like a immediate caretaker and emergency contact, and you know, I don't know, just it's bizarre.
Is it just like you're just instantly imbued with all the responsibility in the world? And
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, for them.
Yeah, you're the default, like the
Mhm.
and once the kids get to an age of where they can communicate, you're the default authority to a degree, which is like, in some subjects it's alarming, because you're like, you can put on a face for most of it, but in some situations you're like, oh, fuck, I don't know, let's figure it out.
I also think a moment of maybe not necessarily being an adult, but like, yeah, no, it's being an adult, is you guys probably remember what it felt like the first time moving out of your parents' house. And you're like, oh, I got bills. I got, a
Mhm.
job. I got that. I think that was a very big moment as well. Like, oh, it's on me now.
yeah. Yeah, I think like making big purchases in my name makes me feel that way. Like a car or a house, like things like
Mhm.
that, where it's like, oh, I didn't this wasn't a car that was, $1,500 or whatever that I got
Yeah.
on, out of the classified ads. Um
Like, I got
Stuff like
financed
that.
on this.
Yeah.
I would say also like getting a job, like getting. So when I was a server in New York, it felt sort of like pretend, to be honest. I mean, it was fun and exciting to a degree, but it didn't feel real or like an adult job. Whereas getting a job at like an actual company, I had, a little bit of imposter syndrome and like, but it just felt very adulty that I thought, like,
You mean
how am I the
a
adult here?
professional type job,
Yeah,
like
like a professional, like you'd go in for an interview and then you like negotiating a salary, negotiating
Yeah.
like how much you're going to be making in a year.
Something not as
to
casual
feed
as like
yourself.
filling out a paper application.
Right,
Like,
right,
I guess all the managers in on Tuesdays. Come back Tuesday.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
They're like, are you have you committed any like federal crimes? And you're like, no. And they're like, okay, get in here.
Right.
Different than that.
Yeah, taking those big steps.
Yeah. It says one day you aren't the ones calling your parents for help anymore. They're the ones calling you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Like, hey, can you come over and help with blah, blah, blah? Or, yeah.
Yeah, I actually, speaking of which, this last weekend,
So that probably happened with your.
I was helping my mother-in-law get back to their house, and they have rugs in various places, and I was like, hey guys, these are tripping hazards, and we don't want to even, I'm sure you're fine, I'm sure you're going to navigate it just fine, but I'm going to bring them up. And they're like, well, it doesn't sound like, I mean, it's probably a good idea, but like, they're probably fine there. I'm like, nope, we're taking them up because we're not even going to risk it.
Listen,
And that
I
was
don't want to be called back to this house. I'm taking them.
Right. Yeah. And so I was like, well, the plan is we're going to do this because this will be temporary, but we don't even want, it's not even a full trip. It's just like even a little trip or like a little jolt can set you back. We're not going to do that. So I'm taking up all the rugs, and I had to be sort of like and then Anna went later, and she's like, oh, it sounded like you were very, confident with the decisions that you were making. And I was like, yeah, I kind of felt like I had to be, but also like,
ouch. Is that her saying she was upset with you?
no, not at all.
Okay.
She was very happy because she also told them to pick up the rugs basically, and they're like,
I was gonna say, was she there, or did she be like, my mom just called and said you yelled at her?
No, I'm really lucky. I get on with them really well. We have a good time, and I did it, respectfully. I tried to, but I was also, stern. But that as far as like being an adult, and falling in line with the whole asking for help versus being asked
This
for help.
carpet's getting rolled up, either with you in or with you out. What do you want?
Yeah.
When I took my kid to Disney World and she met Pluto, and out of the blue said, Daddy was your age when he first met Pluto. Daddy was your age when he first met Pluto at Disney World. Later that night, I just laid in bed thinking about my parents taking me to Disney World in the 80s.
Yeah, that's special. It's kind of that making memories through your eyes for somebody else.
When I bought my first house at 22 after growing up in poverty with an abusive parent, I literally cried happy the first night sleeping on the living room floor.
It just seems like someone needed to get that out.
Yeah.
Are there any answers like, oh, the first time I asked my kid to bring me a beer or something?
My daughter told me I was old because I'm almost 30. I remember telling my dad he was old because he was almost 30. Life is a circle.
They all seem to be like pretty reflective moments.
Yeah.
My kids call me old man periodically. I ground them. No, not really, but it is pretty
soon
funny.
to love it.
I think they do it.
Do you call them young man?
Sometimes.
Say, hey, listen here, young man.
I do that. I call them gentlemen sometimes. I'm like,
He's been
gentlemen.
called worse than that.
Picking out my dad's casket alone is the first thing that
Oh
comes
my
to mind.
God.
Jesus Christ. Man, that guy
Taking close
totally
enemy
pulled a
contact
Jake.
overseas and being the only one to stay calm on the radio with hire is another.
Ooh, that would be
When my
that
dad died,
straightens you up pretty quick.
bar babysitting my wife's friend. It was like 11:30 p.m. and my wife wanted me to meet up with them for her own sanity/safety.
I remember in.
I guess that is like kind of an adult feeling moment where it's like, okay, this person's like been at it all day or whatever, and I need to take care of them. So I'm not gonna imbibe myself. Like I'm just gonna make sure they get home safe or whatever.
I would say we also had moments of, there were times when we were all living together in North Portland, and we'd be like, just be starting our night right now at 9:00 on a random Tuesday. Like the moment you get an adult job, you're like, oh, gotta work tomorrow. So it's like you lose some freedom.
Yeah. Oh, 86 fun.
You could start right now, Matt. Like just start partying now.
I'm just gonna do it, and now I'm gonna start getting into sports betting so I can talk with all the sports friends too.
And then get in the car and roll down the window and yell at your family, "I'm gonna live forever!" and take off like peeling down the street.
Crash into a tree. Well, it's not gonna live forever. This episode.
Is
that a good one?
Everything is forever on the internet.
That was strong. That was a strong transition.
Yeah, I guess this was a more somber question. I probably shouldn't have. I saw it and it sounded interesting, and I didn't read the comments or anything, and so I thought it'd be kind of a funner one, but yeah, it is more reflective. And
Brandon was thinking more along the lines like, "Oh, when I got my first boner."
Yeah.
Well, I got someday when I get my first pube.
Oh, the Prospector's coming back out.
Well, no.
You should do the outro of the Prospector.
Finish it off.
Finish it off.
Into the sunset.
Just finish us off.
Well, thank you mighty kindly for listening. Please support the show over at Patreon at patreon.com/qualified nonsense. Watch us over on YouTube at youtube.com/@qualified nonsense. Also, feel free to send any questions or comments to qualifiednonsense@gmail.com or hit us up on our socials found in the episode description. After you've done all that, please rate, review, share, like, and subscribe on your podcast app of choice. We'll see you back here next week for another brand new episode of Qualified Nonsense.
Good night, y'all.
Good night. Time to hit the dusty trail.